Hello inner tubes. So recently Brooke and I attended a Royal Enfield twins launch, meaning twins as in twin cylinder motorcycles. The two motorcycles that were being launched were the Royal Enfield Interceptor and the Royal Enfield Continental GT 650cc parallel twins, 270-degree cranks, and a real classic look to them. Now, I got to test ride both of them. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of the GT test ride, so I'm only going to bring you the footage of my test ride on the Interceptor 2 up with Brooke on the back, and my thoughts about it. Alright, inner tubes, here we are. Royal Enfield 2 up with Brooke on the back. The stock pipes are a little on the quiet side. And here we go. Very comfy sitting position on this Royal Enfield. This is the Interceptor. That there is the GT. The GT is the cafe racer. These are 650s. Air and oil cooled parallel twins with a 270-degree crank. They sound good, especially... What is going on here? Especially with the aftermarket pipe. And here we go. Decent power right off the bat. 47 horsepower, not a whole lot, but enough to be entertaining. The bike is very steady and tracks very nicely. And it does sound good. Once you get the revs up, it sounds really nice. Feels pretty good 2 up. It is a good bike. I can definitely feel Brooke's weight on the back. She's only 125 pounds, but with the helmet, the gear, and all that, probably an extra 150 pounds back there all together. But the bike isn't breathing hard at all. It accelerates well. Not a lot of weather protection. You can get a fly screen for this, but this one doesn't have it, so I'm getting the air blast right in my chest, which is welcome because it is a warm day today. No gear indicator. It does have a fuel gauge. And it does sound cool. Like it sounds cool, it looks cool, you feel pretty cool on it. Let's see how it pulls from really low revs. Pretty good. Wow, it feels really old school. I feel a little bit of vibration through the tank and seats and the bars as the engine accelerates. But this is the kind of riding that this bike is meant to do. It's meant to be on these kind of small country lanes. All the specs I'll put in the description below, so if you need to know anything, you can find it out there. But it definitely, it's not a powerful bike per se, but it definitely has enough power. And if you want that retro experience, those old Triumphs, VSAs of old, did not have a lot of power. A little bump here. Okay. And so this is more like that. This is the kind of bike that simulates that 1960s experience. a lot of the other bikes in this category, they look like they're from the 60s, but they're actually, they feel like they're from their modern bikes. But these ones, they definitely look and feel like the real deal. Wow, it sounds good, eh? The suspension is a little soft here because it's set soft, but that's because we're two up. If I was alone, it'd be a little bit stiffer, and quite frankly, I'd set it much stiffer than this. It's a little wallowy right now, but it is at one of the softer settings I've noticed, so you can have it a lot stiffer than it is. It's a full-size feeling motorcycle, but it does feel smaller than a Triumph or bikes of that caliber. It feels about the same size as a Ducati Scrambler. Nowhere near the power of a Scrambler, but in my opinion, it's better looking. I especially like the white and red with the blacked out wheels. That's the best looking one. The GTs are exactly the same bike, except the foot peg and handlebar position is different. It's more sporty and less comfortable, I might add. So for us, the Interceptor is definitely the way to go, but the other reason we're testing this bike is because Brooke will be looking for a new bike at some point in the near future. And this is one of the candidates. And I might have to say this is probably the best looking of the candidates. So, beautiful bike. It looks great from the saddle. It looks really good. Yeah, it's buzzy. I like it. I actually like that it's buzzy. Alright, so the 650s. The new Royal Enfield 650s that have just come out. The Interceptor and the GT. What do I think of them? Well, first of all, they are mechanically almost the same bike. I mean, in terms of suspension, engine, gearing, everything else, they're the same bike. The only real difference is the shape of the tank, the seat, the handlebars, and the position of the foot pegs. Of course, the GT is much more sporty. The Interceptor is much more of a standard motorcycle seating position. So what did I think of it? Well, I think you could tell from the test ride that I was thrilled with it. I think that a lot of companies are missing what Royal Enfield seems to have captured with their bikes, and that is that visceral feel of a motorcycle. Not everybody who wants a motorcycle wants it to simply just perform and be smooth and comfortable and quiet and civilized. There's a whole group of guys who ride Harleys who don't want that, and a lot of them are complaining about the new Harley engine. There's a whole group of guys who ride Triumphs who wish that there was a little bit more shake, rattle, and roll with their Bonnevilles. And so when Royal Enfield came out with these bikes, they certainly engineered some character into those babies. And so it's really nice to see that you've got a couple of bikes that still feel like old school motorcycles. You know, everyone else produces bikes that look old school, but Royal Enfields feel old school. Not that they're you know, not that they're outdated motorcycles. The brakes are fine, the power is fine, everything's fine. Nothing is really outstanding as far as performance. Everything works. Nothing works spectacularly well, but nothing is bad either. They are quite comfortable. Actually, if there's something that's spectacular about them, is the comfort, because I was comfortable. The seat was a bit stiff on both of them, but the seating position, which is the most important thing, was great. The feel of them is what I'm talking about. The feel of a motorcycle. A motorcycle that can make you feel like Marlon Brando in The Wild One, that's an intangible that's worth a lot of money. And Royal Enfield is not charging a lot of money for these bikes. Now we're talking, you know, I think the single color Interceptors are going for under $8,000 in Canada, which is an amazing price for a motorcycle. Just absolutely amazing. So, did I like it? Absolutely. Is this one of my favorite motorcycles? Yeah, as soon as I rode it, it became one of my favorite motorcycles. It is an absolutely spectacular bike, and I loved it. Would we consider replacing Brooks CB300 with that bike? I think right now, all things considered, that is the leading candidate as far as motorcycles go in terms of price, because yeah, you can get used bikes for less, but they're used. This is a brand new motorcycle. In terms of looks, in terms of feel, yeah, the performance isn't great. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of horsepower, but it's got enough horsepower to chomp along on the highway at speed pretty much indefinitely. You can stick a windshield on it and some panniers and go touring on it. It's comfortable enough for sure. It looks awesome. You can ride around the country roads and enjoy yourself. One thing you might not be able to do is ride super sporty on it, but you can ride in a spirited way on it. It's just going to be more exciting than other bikes, because let's face it, it's not going to handle as well as those other motorcycles. But still, you know, it's definitely a bike that is worthy of your consideration. Oh, there's a vulture. Anyways, yeah, the Royal Enfields, definitely those bikes have my seal of approval. As far as the two bikes compared to each other, well, I personally quite prefer the Interceptor. I like the standard riding position. So does Brooke. That's the one she'd get if she's getting one. The GT is for the person who wants to ride a little bit sporty, and for the person who is maybe not going as far on each ride. If most of your riding is in the city and you take the bike in the twisties, is it really a twisty eating track machine? Nope, it's not. Its suspension is a little too wallowy. It's a little too heavy and heavier feeling than, say, a Ducati Scrambler or something like that. And it's not extremely powerful, that's for sure. But if you ride it to its limit, any bike can be exciting. And so that's a bike that kind of ends up being compared to itself, really. Itself and maybe some Triumph Bonnevilles and maybe a Moto Guzzi V7 and maybe a Harley Sportster, those other types of bikes that try to bring back the past. However, one must point out that the Royal Enfield undercuts all of those bikes in price by a lot, and because of that, it is going to outcompete a lot of them with a lot of consumers who just want a nice bike and don't care about, you know, maybe the electronics or how refined it is. In fact, it's better that it's not refined. So once again, I definitely recommend the bike. It's a great bike, and I think that it is going to sell a lot of motorcycles and open up a lot of new markets for Royal Enfield. So guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support as always. Please like, comment, subscribe if you have any comments about the bike. If you own the bike and know more than I do, definitely throw in a comment. And may the spokes be with you.